Greetings. Welcome to the Casual Voice of the Rift, guys. This is very first episode 1. We've been working on this, getting this show off the ground for, God, I don't even know how long, guys. Maybe a week, the last couple weeks. It's been in our heads for the last couple months, but I think actually preliminary work and background work and all the bullshit that it goes into actually making a stream and a show that looks halfway decent was a lot fucking harder than I thought it was going to be, so congratulations to us. Anyways, this show is called The Casual Voice of the Rift. We're going to start with introductions. You guys can see the topics below at the bottom of the stream. This is the stuff that we're going to cover today, so we're going to start with intro. My name is JMAP. I have been involved in gaming since I was, I don't even know, probably 6, 7 years old. I've been involved in competitive gaming probably since I was in high school, maybe 16, 17. The first game I think I got competitively involved in was probably Street Fighter. I played a shitload of Street Fighter, mostly Third Strike. Went to the round of 32 at EVO 2005. It was probably my greatest achievement of all time. And got shit on by some Japanese kid, so that was fun. Other than that, it's been a lot of shooters, a lot of Call of Duty, a lot of Halo, a lot of StarCraft, a lot of... The three of us ran a threes team in World of Warcraft for a little over a year. I don't know what our highest rating was. Did we break 2K?
We did. Me and you did 2v2 at 2100.
Okay.
But our threes team, I think we were like 1780 or 1800.
So, which is awful. So
yeah, it's not very good. But me and you were good at twos, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've played a lot of games. I was involved in some Counter-Strike, never at a very high level, but I've always been in the scene, and, this is just one of those things. It's kind of a passion of mine. I'm not a superstar in any regards, but I love talking about it, I love playing, and I love watching. So, we'll send it over to Andy P.
Hey guys, my name's Andy P. I have been playing games since I was probably about 8 or 9. JMAP kind of introduced me to a lot of games. I started playing a lot of World of Warcraft. And I played a bit of Street Fighter with him, never really went anywhere with them. Game I was probably best at was StarCraft. I played a fucking shit ton of StarCraft. Pretty much avoided any sort of homework or anything so that I could play more often. Like I said, never really got anywhere with games, but I've always been really passionate about them and always loved playing them very much. And now it's on to League, and I've watched every game in OGN and EU and NA, some of the LPL, and been really involved with it and really up to date with patches and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, just really passionate about it and really love doing what I'm doing and just playing and watching and enjoying the games, and that's kind of, what we're doing now, is explaining that. So, yeah.
Sweet. Over to Oath.
Hello, I am Oath. About the same thing as them, I got into games when I was really young, like they said, 6, 7 years old, something like that. Always liked to be competitive about it, never really got anywhere, but it's always been something I did every day, always playing games. It's something I've always loved doing, so for me, when I got into League, it's the biggest game out, and I like the fact that it has the pro scene, and it's considered a sport, and all these things, and, I like talking about that, so I feel like doing this show is the perfect type of thing for me, so, let's actually get into the show.
Yeah. And in case anybody didn't figure it out, the three of us happen to be brothers. We were born from the same woman.
Indeed.
We share parents. So,
the same woman.
Yeah, well, 2 of you.
Yeah, okay.
two of you. They are twins, so I was not involved in that womb. Thank goodness.
That's too bad.
Anyways, on to topic 2. I wanted to give you guys kind of an overview of the goals of this show, what we want to achieve by actually doing this and why the fuck we're doing it to begin with. When it comes to League of Legends, I feel like everybody that watches on Twitch gets a really good, bird's eye view on the kind of pro scene. They watch pros stream on a daily basis, We have Thorin and Monte Cristo on Summoning Insight talking about what's going on from a very, very, very high level, which I feel like for a lot of people that watch League of Legends or are even interested in League of Legends, it's difficult to kind of pick up on some of the things that they talk about, even though I'm sure a lot of you understand everything. I watch Twitch every single day. I watch all those streams. I watch Summoning Insight on a weekly basis. I love it. But I feel like, we have those shows and those streams for the top 1% of League of Legends, and there's over 17, 18, 19, 20 million people that play this video game. And for all those casual people, we don't really have a show from that perspective. I feel like why shouldn't we? Us three, we represent, we're silver, gold, and platinum players. And I feel like, we can bring a perspective to League of Legends that might not be out there. So if you guys are looking for a little bit more of a casual show, a little bit more of a down-to-earth show, this might be the one for you. So, anything to add? What do you guys want to bring to the show? Andrew, you go first.
Just my kind of goal of the show is just to share my opinions on it. Share my opinions on the game and share, what I consider my knowledge of the game. And even though I'm not the highest skilled player or the highest mechanical player or make the best decisions in the game, I think from my perspective and what I can share in the show is just a casual look and a casual way of just explaining things that everyone can understand. Not using words that only gamers can understand. So, like, for instance, if it's your first week playing League of Legends and you tuned into a pro stream and are trying to pick up on the game and learn about the game and stuff, you might not understand from the way they're describing it or the way that they're explaining it. And from us, we're going to be explaining it at the most downgraded, most down-to-earth way possible. And I think that's kind of the goal for me, is because I didn't really have that when I was introduced to games. JMAP was kind of my explanation on how to play games. And, to bring that knowledge to a larger crowd is something that's really exciting for me.
Nice. Oaf?
Yeah, no, I mean, same type of thing. The fact that we're not pro players, we're some of the lowest ELOs you can get. We're silver, gold, platinum, we're not incredible players. We're not the most fantastic things you'll ever see, but, sometimes that's good, to have that, you don't see the tiny littlest things that people do in the pro games, but, seeing it just being explained simply, and that's what the show's going to do for us. It's for everyone. Everyone's going to understand what we're saying. Everyone's going to have fun with what we're doing. It's not just for the pro scene. It's not just explaining the 1%. So I think that's big for me. Is I like the fact that it's out there for everyone. It's not just for a 1% crowd.
Yeah.
So,
I like that. I like that. And as the show goes on and as people start to tune in and be involved with the stream, I want to bring on other casuals to come into these Skype calls. I want to bring in random Joe Schmo that has a fucking Twitch page where 6 people watch him. And hopefully, we can grow this show and we can grow this stream and we can kind of get more of these, low ELO players that love the game just as much as the fucking Diamond 1 and Challenger players do, and give them a couple minutes to, give their opinion. I think it's going to be really cool. So
that's the main thing, is getting the opinions of not the pro players. Everyone deserves to have a voice, and this is kind of the show that's going to allow you to do that. That's what I like about it, for sure.
All right, so let's move on. Let's get into kind of the meat and potatoes of the show. So I want to go over, I know it's been done to the ground, I want to talk about All Stars, which was a week or a week and a half ago, briefly, because we all saw the stomp fest that was All Stars. So I guess to start, obviously SKT took the whole thing without dropping Did they drop a game?
No.
I don't think they dropped a game the whole time.
No, they didn't lose a single game.
So they looked like it at one point, but they never lost control.
No, it was like barely a close game. Even.
Right.
It was just,
So, I think the whole which region is the best, I don't think it's ever been in question. But I can say that I was pretty impressed with some of the other regions. specifically NA. I think.
Yeah, no.
I think
Cloud9.
Cloud9
Yeah.
came through and put on a better show than anyone could have imagined that they were going to. I think in group stages, they played extremely well. They beat their, I guess you can call them their rival in Fnatic. They beat the Chinese in the group stages. They put on a really, really good show, and they did it without High. They did it on a couple weeks practice with a new mid laner and shot caller. Very impressive. I guess. What's your guys' take?
Well, just the fact that they can bring Link in and still have that team synergy on rotations was impressive for me. Like, I know with High, like, he's not the biggest carry mid laner. He doesn't have the most CS in games, but, like, he does his rotations well, and that's one thing I always pride Cloud9 on. But bringing in Link, he looked like the same mid laner, you know what I mean? Like, he looked like the same team. And so I think they were very impressive. It's sad that they lost like they did, but, you know, I mean, happens.
Sure. And what did you think of their performance?
I think Cloud9 specifically played well. Something that they've always done and what they've always achieved that other teams lacked, and I think that's why they jumped to the front of the NALCS off the bat, was just that they always go into every game with a strategy. They always go in specifically with a goal in mind, and they execute that. They don't have the highest mechanical skill. They don't have the fakers of the game, let's say, but they have team synergy, and to see them pull that out with someone who they've played with for 2 weeks is even more impressive. I mean, I can only imagine what they would do with their mid laner. They could probably have gone even further.
Yeah,
but
I think there's a good chance they would have beat the Chinese.
Yeah, OMG at that time.
I think so. I really do.
Yeah. Now on to the Chinese team. I can say this, in my opinion, their mid laner very impressive. Obviously, he's a skirmisher, and I think it's indicative of the entire region that it shows that all those people give a shit about. All the Chinese fucking care about is fighting. All they want to do is duel. All they want to do is kill each other. That's all they care about. And then 40 minutes into the game, I have more shit than you do. I'm going to walk down mid lane and maybe try to finish. I don't see... I was extremely, extremely blown away at their lack of rotation, vision control, and any objective-based gameplay out of them.
Yeah.
In straight-up 5v5s, unbelievably impressive. But in every other aspect of the game, I was like, these guys are shit.
They just don't come in with strategy. Like, they come in, they say, hey, if I'm a better mid laner, I'm going to pick off kills, and then I'll take objectives when you're dead. But they don't just shove objectives. Like, I mean, like Cloud9, for instance, they don't do a lot of outplaying in, like, lane. Like, they don't beat their lane opponents hard, really. But, like, OMG, when they won by a landslide because they killed the other team over and over, and then they took objectives. But, like, they didn't come into games with strategies. They didn't have great warding. Their dragon control was very mediocre, and their objective pushing was, I mean, honestly, you compare it to Cloud9 or SKT or anyone like that, it was nothing. Like, they just didn't grab anything unless it was off a kill. Yeah. And I didn't like that. Like, I don't know. They're real brawlers, but that's that's Chinese teams in general, like you said.
In general,
yeah, that's the region. They feel like to beat a player, they should actually beat the player, not the tower that it's covering. You know.
Sure.
So
now,
I mean,
yeah, Andrew, Andy P. Last region in EU, Fnatic came and pretty much dropped almost every single game that they played. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen Fnatic. Granted, they go on losing streaks and they're hit or miss and they're hot and cold and they always kind of have been. They seem to pull it out when it comes down to like playoffs and kind of high stress situations. What did you think of their performance overall?
Fnatic's this season overall to me has been really up and down, and it's been really, really shoddy, and I think that All Stars in general is kind of a brief umbrella of their whole season. It's just showing their if the tournament didn't have a huge cash prize, if there wasn't something that was immediately going to affect them, if there wasn't, we're going to get knocked out of Worlds or something like that, something that's really high demand, they take it as a joke to me. Like, for instance, Cyanide showing up, hungover to scrims is just fucking ridiculous. Like, you don't do that shit. And to do that and to take the dedication out of the game and just to show up and hope to do well because you're supposedly better than these other teams is a complete joke to me. And I think that, it showed. They got absolutely annihilated by SKT. They didn't perform well versus Cloud9. They, at the very least performed decent versus some of the teams. And that's just, to me, the reason they did well is just because they have team synergy. Like, they've been playing together for so damn long that it would make no sense if they just looked like complete shit. But to me, they just are lacking what other teams have. Like SKT, they're sliding down in the OGN. They're not performing as well as they should be. And you see them come into All Stars, and they look like they knew exactly what they were doing. And they had everything exactly planned out, and they were dedicated, and you could tell. And Fnatic, to me, was just like, well, it's only a $50,000 cash prize. Well, this doesn't matter for anything else in the season. It doesn't matter for Worlds, so let's just treat it for fun, and let's just have fun with it. And that's trash. You're in your home city,
they definitely let down EU. There's no doubt about
that. That was my thing is, like, honestly, like, I don't know. With Fnatic, I feel like they're cocky in a sense. In the fact that, like, when he was questioned about showing up hungover, they questioned Soaz about it. He's like, well, what the hell did he say? I'm
the best top laner ever, and
in other words,
I'm the most dedicated player there is.
Yeah. He told about how dedicated they are, and you're not. If you're drinking the night before fucking All Stars, then like, what are you talking about? I just don't understand. For me, I understand it's not a big cash prize, but one, it's your home crowd. All Stars is supposed to be this huge event that, like, almost celebrates esports. It's the best teams around putting on this amazing performance for all of their fans. And Fnatic just let all their fans down. Like, they just said, hey, cares more about getting drunk than practicing for this. And you know what? Like, have fun watching us get just destroyed, in other words.
Well, they treated it like a vacation.
Yeah, it seemed like a party in Paris.
Yeah, and so as to me, posting the next day, we're the most dedicated team in esports is complete trash.
Yeah.
It pissed me off. I've never been a huge Fnatic fan, and I'm not a huge Fnatic supporter. I think they're a good team, and I think they have the potential to do some really great stuff. But for Soaz to post that is just straight up cocky. Like, dude, if you fucked up, you fucked up. Like, admit it. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to be like, oh, you were on vacation and you got drunk? Well, you're a bad person. Like, we're going to be like, okay, well, at least it makes sense why you look like garbage.
Sure.
Like, don't tell us you're so dedicated and you tried so hard and then show up and put on a trash performance. Like, it's not okay.
What he said was, by the way, he said, we've won every European LCS tournament. Who gives a fuck?
That's what I say to that.
And you got fucked on. Like, what does it matter that you won something over a European team?
Yeah. Like, it was an international event. Yeah. Your standings in the EU LCS, while impressive, I will give you that.
Oh yeah.
At this event, doesn't mean shit.
No. Well, and to talk about what Monte Cristo said specifically to Soaz was, you guys performed well last year at Worlds. Yeah. That is the standard for your team now.
It's true.
The standard is not whether you win the Europe LCS, because who gives a shit? Yeah. We want to see you get second place at Worlds. We want to see you get third place at Worlds.
Sure.
That's what matters now. So when you come into your first international tournament of the next year and perform like absolute garbage, you are proving nothing to us at all.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Yeah, to kind of bring that all to a conclusion and move into the next section, I think our next section is region strength and overview, which we kind of delved into a little bit there. But I'm gonna put this point out, and I see it from interviews, I see it from Twitter posts, I see it from everything that these guys put out. When these guys go to an international tournament, I think obviously we know as far as region strength goes that Korea is at the top of the line. There's no doubt in anybody's mind. I think any of the top 8 teams could probably shit on majority of all the teams in NA and EU. But
really quick. By the way, TPA looked like absolute garbage.
Yeah, I didn't even want to talk about them. They're
They
terrible.
looked so fucking
So
bad.
they're
Oh,
just awful.
try to
That was
avoid that at all
a
costs.
that was a practice filler team for all the other ones.
Yeah,
to
it
scrim
looked
against.
so bad.
Yeah,
but sorry about that.
That's
Go
okay.
ahead.
That's okay. I realize that Korea is at the top of the top. They have the strictest training regimen. They play the most. They have the biggest support staff of anyone, and I get that. But that's what EU and NA should be striving for. And I feel like when they come to these international events, the mindset that they have is, Korea's here, we're going to get shit on, so what's the point?
Yeah, I hate
Well, yeah,
that.
when
Like,
someone,
they're
when
always-
someone, I think it was Balls, posted to Twitter, got 1 kill on Faker, was completely worth it. Like, that should not be what you're striving for, to
No.
kill their star player
You-
1 time.
No.
Like, that's
That's-
not okay.
You're supposedly the best team in all of North America, and all you care about is 1 kill. Like, dude, 1 kill is fucking nothing.
Yeah, that
I
made
mean,
your trip worth it. Fuck off.
You should
Yeah.
take a game off of them at least, and then it's worth it.
That's
But,
the
like,
goal.
But
Yeah.
like, if I'm a pro player and I consider myself the best in my region, I'm not just beating my region anymore. I'm hunting for the best teams. I want to beat the best teams, and everyone's taking it like it's nothing. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, you can't beat SKT." SKT's like 5th in Korea right now.
They're
And
not.
I'm gonna,
They're like 7th or 8th.
Yeah, like, they're low.
well, and to put it out there, I'm not saying that mechanically you're going to beat Faker.
No.
No one
No.
can.
You're
No one's
not.
going to.
He's the best.
And
mechanic.
I'm not saying strategically you'll beat a Korean team.
Hmm.
What we're saying is Europe and NA should be striving to have the same support staff that Korea has. They should be striving to have the same regiment when it comes to practice. I mean, it's like the fucking NBA in America is they train every day. They're not out playing pickup games at the park like
Yeah,
solo
which is what
queue,
solo queue is.
which
is
so,
what solo queue is.
Mhm.
Korea, there's a reason we don't see them streaming. There's a reason we don't see when we do see their videos of them in solo queue, they have changed names. They were like hunted down to find these games because they practice to such an extreme extent that they become these teams that are so much better. And to not even remotely try to get to that point, like Fnatic, we're not going to win, so we might as well not try kind of attitude, is complete garbage. Like,
Well,
it
you
should
look
not
at-
happen.
You look at Fnatic too. When they went to Worlds and took, what was it, 3rd or 2nd or whatever they took, they had a analyst, they had coaches, they had the full Korean style staff.
Yeah,
they
let
fired
all
all
that
of them.
come.
They
Yeah,
fired
well-
all of them, and then this season they look way worse.
Well,
Like,
just
they
yeah,
were
it
not
feels
ready.
like they're so used to winning the EU LCS that during the regular season, I think that they just get into this. We're gonna make the playoffs, and we're probably gonna beat everyone because we have more experience than they do. So why pay all these people? But what I feel like, and I know it's kind of unfair and kind of biased because in NA and EU, those teams, they are not allowed to go play in other tournaments. They are forced
Yeah.
to play in the LCS on a weekly basis, and they can't travel and play in the OGN. They can't travel and play at all of the ESL tournaments. They are
Yeah.
stuck playing the same
Yeah,
seven
even
fucking
the TSM
teams on a
tournament.
weekly basis, which is one of the things I hate most
So do
about
I.
the LCS. I love watching it, and I love that it's on every week. That's so cool. But
Yeah.
for these guys to grow, TSM playing fucking EG on a weekly basis is not going to help them. I'm sorry, Crepo,
It
but
won't.
you can go fuck off. And, these guys need to play against European teams. They need to go
Well-
fucking travel to Korea and
And
see what it's like to
I
get
mean-
shit on all the
Well,
time.
and truth be told,
I agree.
it's not even. I mean, it's obviously that it's a shitty system, but
Yeah.
there is a point to where playing these teams, even if they're worse than you, even if you're going to beat them every time, testing new strategies, testing new picks, testing new. Okay, let's do 4-man pushes and make sure that our 2v1's better than Korea's 2v1. Let's make sure that our tower pushing's better than Korea's tower pushing. There's ways to face these lesser teams and train new strategies and train your game knowledge, and they don't. They play solo queue 9 hours a day,
That-
and they
that's
scrim
my-
once a week.
It's a good point.
That's
And-
my problem is the solo queue thing. I get solo queue is money. I mean, for these pro players, they got 20,000 viewers
It's a
watching
lot of
them.
money.
They're making money. But if you want to be the best team, you don't solo queue. You get with your team and you do scrims non-fucking stop. 14, 12 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well,
and
you
they
get
solo
these.
queue by themselves. Crepo was on for 17 hours the other day.
Yeah,
Like, that means he didn't play one single time with a single player from his team.
yeah.
And he's trying to get ready for the LCS. It starts freaking Friday.
Friday.
And all he's done is solo queue for the past week.
We get a lot of reports out of the NA scrims, even EU scrims, and they say all the time that scrims are against those teams are almost worthless because
They're joke.
if somebody dies level 1, they'll just leave the game.
Well, and here's the
That's
other
fucked.
thing.
We're done. This isn't gonna be. We're not gonna be able to come back. It's like play
Yeah.
through those situations and shut the
Yeah.
fuck up. Like
Yeah, quit being
Well,
a pussy.
and here's
seriously.
the other thing. You see in NA and EU, I mean, obviously not a pro team, but trying to become one. When Cloud9 Tempest, when Bishu's team was trying to become, get into the LCS, they were fucking streaming their scrims.
yeah,
Like, that's absurd.
Yeah,
That
come
makes
on.
no sense. Like, hey guys, these are our strategies we're practicing. Just
Yeah.
to let you know, if you want to tune in and just see what we're doing, here you go.
yeah.
Like, that's when I found that out. When I was watching that stream, the entire time I wasn't even noticing what Bishu was doing. I was just like, "The fuck are you thinking?"
yeah.
And the whole
Seriously.
time, not once is he like, "All right, guys, let's try to do this. Let's try this strategy." The whole time he's like, "God damn, I'm fucking good at Osu. God damn, I'm good at Nidalee." Like, he's just talking as if he's solo queue, and I'm just like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Play with your team and practice a strategy."
Yeah.
And it's just like, notice how you never hear that shit out of Korea. When you watch the OGN, there's 3 coaches in the booth with their team during
Yeah.
the game. Like,
Yeah.
During picks and bans, always.
you never see
My
that
thing-
shit, dude. It
Yeah,
just
and if
doesn't
they
make any
make
sense.
I'm sure if they make a misplay or fuck up picks and bans, there's fucking no Korean barbecue for a week. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
You get nothing
No,
for
but
but
that's
kimchi.
well, they
my
love
thing.
that shit. So
Yeah, they do.
Which
That's
blows
my thing with fucking Korea, though. Like, they have such a respect for other teams. Like, when you listen to SKT before they were playing, like, Cloud9, they had nothing but good things to say. I mean, they still had a confidence, but they had good stuff to say. Where you, like, watch Fnatic when they face, like, Cloud9, and they're just like, well, we're a better team.
Mm.
So they don't even prepare for it. They don't scrim together. They don't do these things. All they care about is, like, and I can't say this for sure because I don't know the players, but
Yeah.
they like the solo queue streaming because it's money. But
Sure.
that's not going to get you anywhere. Solo queue is nothing like rank play.
Well, I mean,
not
when
even
Wild
fucking
Turtle
close.
has 5 accounts in Challenger, that just shows he's solo
Yeah.
queuing too much. It's just a plain
Wow.
fact. Like, you can't have 5 accounts in
Wait,
Challenger and not solo queue 8 hours a day.
Well, like I said,
You know what I mean?
Crepo-
Like, it's just absurd.
over this weekend, Crepo did like 40, I think it was like 35, 37 hours on stream.
Mm.
Over the weekend, so Friday
Yeah.
through Sunday, he did like 37 hours on stream. Like, dude, you did not play once with your whole fucking team 4 days before your LCS starts. What the fuck are you thinking? Like,
Well, you got
don't you want to win?
you got Snoopy out fucking lifting weights in Iceland and shit.
Yeah.
And you got fucking the
I'm
rest of
so
their
sick
team
about
probably suckling at mommy's teat at back
Yeah.
home on their break and shit. And I get it; they deserve a break, man. Those LC,
Homework. And
yeah. I mean,
I-
it's tough, but yeah, I feel
But
like
at the same
they all
time-
boo-hoo about their performance on an international stage, but make some fucking changes, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that hard. So
But anyway, let's get back to it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the
was a good-
strength in each region.
I think we just did. You
Okay.
know, it's not a big secret, but I'm going to put this out there, and in 30 seconds, you guys respond. I believe at Worlds this year, I think NA will be the second strongest region in the world.
I agree.
I think they'll beat the
I think-
Chinese.
I think it's going to go Korea, NA, China, Europe, other. Because Europe's going
Southeast
to... I
Asia.
think Europe looks like shit other than Alliance. If Alliance puts on their try-hard pants and comes together as a team,
Mm.
they might be able to do something. But I think Cloud9 is going to be up there with any team. Korea's obviously going to be... It's going to... I mean...
Yeah, they're
I
top
honestly think
dogs.
Korea's will take it. But,
Yeah.
I mean... I'm hoping NA comes out stronger, but
I think they
I mean,
will.
looking from who is it, OMG in the Cloud9 games, Cloud9 had several opportunities to win those games.
Yeah.
So I think if they just get their shit together and work hard, which Cloud9 does, that's
Sure.
the one NA team I can say that actually works their ass off.
Yep.
And I think that they'll do really well.
All right. Andrew, any closing thoughts?
Well, obviously Korea is going to top off.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a pretty close one between NA and China, and the reason I say that is that NA had so many roster changes that I think over the season they could potentially train up enough to the point where they will be strong and they will be able to work well. I think Cloud9 is really our only bet at being in top.
Yeah,
I
top of the
I was just about to say. When
I think CLG has a chance, dude. CLG looks good
They've
right
got
now.
too many
But
roster
their
changes.
Yeah,
We'll
but that's
see.
the point. Is their roster changes were good, though. I think
we'll
that
see.
they added a lot to the team.
Now, yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about CLG and stuff. But yeah, when I say that I think NA will be second, I do believe Cloud9's our only
You
chance.
do mean
for
Cloud9.
That. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I agree with that, but I think CLG will at least do something at Worlds. They're not going to
They'll be good.
lose every game, is what I mean. Like, they won't drop everything.
We'll get that.
Yeah, so moving next topic, roster changes. So we're going to talk specifically about NA because that's where... Actually, there's a lot of changes in Korea, by the way, too. I don't know if you guys saw some of these, but there's a lot. But let's talk about NA to start things off. And let's go with... We'll go from top to bottom. No changes overall for Cloud9. Same team. I think that's going to be a shit show for everyone else because while roster changes can improve your team, building team synergy over a season is tough.
What Cloud9 is they're a new team and they already had synergy off their first week. So having the year up on everyone, it's like they already have a leg up. Like, how many legs do they need?
Yeah, they're leagues ahead already.
So
second place, TSM. Big changes. Odd1 steps down as the jungler, which I think we all kind of felt. I'm surprised he didn't stick around for another season.
I'm surprised he didn't finish the season.
Yeah, I think he wanted to give an entire split for a new jungler to get used to TSM so that they could try and compete on a world stage. But so we have a new jungler, Odd1 steps down, and we get Amazing from Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah.
He steps in as the jungler. He's been in NA for I think a couple of weeks now, scrimming, and they're doing solo queue. I've watched him play a little bit. And then we also have Reggie goes off the deep end and fires Xpecial.
Benches
and I don't care what anybody says. I don't care the release that Reggie put out. I don't give a shit whatever Xpecial says on his interviews. The two of them had a little tiffy-taffy, and Reggie got pissed off. And he benched him, and Xpecial was, I think it was straight up Reggie's dislike for Xpecial, and he traded him off to Curse. So
no, I agree with you. I think Reginald's always had a thing for Xpecial, though. I think he's always disliked him in a way.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's honestly probably the biggest change that's happened, because TSM has been a team since the beginning of time, and they've had the same roster since the beginning of time. And Bjerger coming in, that was a good change, because Bjergsen's a phenomenal player. He's just an amazing mid laner. So, I think that was a good change for them. But getting rid of Xpecial, I got nothing against, what's his name, Glebe Glarblu or something like that.
Man, I'll go over that.
He's not Xpecial. He's not as good.
He's not Xpecial, and he's a challenger-rated support player with 0 LCS. He has no experience. While he is a up-and-coming player with potential, like everyone likes to throw out,
he's good.
When he plays against Doublelift and Afro, when he plays against some of these teams that have, they've been doing together for a long time, I just don't know the synergy that they're going to be able to form. But we'll give this one over to Andy P. How do you feel, let's say if their strength was at 100% as their old lineup, how do you feel they've gone up or down in strength, and how do you think they're going to do across the season?
Amazing has increased their strength. I think Odd1 had just hit his point. His mechanical skill was clearly lacking. I I can't say this for sure, but I'm assuming motivation at this point, if he stepped down, was lacking. So I'd say Amazing's definitely going to increase them. I think he was the most promising player on Copenhagen Wolves, and he definitely has the potential to be great. I think Expecial was probably at minimum top 3 in NA supports, if not the best.
He was best.
To get rid of him, I think, was a rash decision on Reggie, and I think over seasons we've seen how Reggie can kind of be irrational. So I think Glebe is not going to be nearly as effective, and I think Wild Turtle and Expecial was one of the best parts about TSM, because one thing that they always lacked was kind of team strategy. That's why Cloud9 could pull games off of them.
Sure.
And if Bjergsen didn't shine and Bjergsen didn't absolutely stomp his opponent, then they had a lot of time. They had a hard time closing, and it was Turtle and Expecial that kind of picked up the pieces. And I think now throwing Turtle in with someone who can't, or I won't say can't, but maybe can't keep up, is going to be risky. So I think Amazing will help. For sure, but I think their bottom lane will need that help, so I think they'll be maybe same, if not maybe third.
Okay.
I'd go with.
Okay, Zach, I'm gonna give the next one to you. We're going a little long on the show, so I want to kind of expedite a little bit. So next one down is CLG. The roster stays almost the same except for their top laner. Seraph comes in from Korea. Monte Cristo interviews him there, works on his English, reviews his solo queue, talks to his coaches from, I think he was on, was he on White Shield?
He was a sub for White Shield, yeah.
So he's a sub for White Shield, so I know Monte interviewed all his coaches. They all liked his attitude. They all said he was a great player. He just didn't kind of fit with their team synergy. He comes over, he's been here 2 weeks. I've watched his streaming with Afro and his solo queue stuff. CLG's been on the rise. I mean, Dexter's
I'm telling you.
a great jungler. Their bot lane is still top 2 in NA. How do you feel now with increased top lane? I mean, I haven't really seen him play any of the meta champions. I've seen him play a lot of Yasuo, which I don't really understand. How do you think they are going to do? Do you think they are contenders for top 2?
Yeah, I do. I think that, like he was saying about TSM, for one, their bottom lane is going to be, a little bit rough for them. And that's the reason why I think Cloud9 took games off them, was solely because of Meteos. Because I think Meteos is so much better than the Odd One. And so it just played out that way. But as far as CLG goes, I think Doublelift and Afromu are the most recognized bot lane in NA, in my opinion. I mean, top 3 was Wild Turtle, Expecial, Doublelift, Afromu, Lemonation, Sneaky. My opinion. And then maybe like Dig, I'm a Cutie Pie's in there somewhere. But yeah. I mean, I think they're a great team. Dexter's fucking so good at jungling. I mean, he's a great player. Link, we just saw him internationally. He held his own pretty damn well. I mean, he never got shit on. He never did much wrong. Yeah. And so I think Link's a good player. He's not like Bjergsen, where he just wows you at times, but I mean, he's a great player. And then, like you were saying with Seraph, I mean, the kid's a monster. He's super duper duper good, and I don't think any top laners in NA are going to be able to keep up other than Balls. I think Balls will be okay. He's not going to beat him. I think Balls beats most NA top laners. Maybe the only one that contests is Dyrus, but I think Seraph's going to take top lane just all the time. Wow. He'll never lose. I don't think he'll ever lose top lane, especially with Dexter in the jungle, because Dexter's going to give him attention. Yeah, sure. He's never been one of those ones that camps mid. He usually puts his attention into early pressure top lane, and then mid game he does a lot of bot lane ganks to try and get dragon control and tower pressure. And so I think that with Dexter's pressure and Seraph's just ability to learn and play the game is just, I think they're going to do phenomenally. I don't think they'll beat Cloud9, but they'll take second, worst third.
Okay.
That's easy.
That's going to make for some explosive games with Cloud9 because Meteos'
Absolutely.
mantra these days has been camping top lane to get balls ahead. So I think those will be some interesting matchups. And I'll give the next one to you. We're going to talk Dig. Bot lane stays the same with Kiwi Kid and
Cutie pie.
fucking Cutie Ogre face.
Yeah. Long hair McGee.
They signed probably two of the, I would say, strongest individual skilled players in NA.
They're so good.
Yeah.
At solo queue, at least, they're phenomenal.
With their changes now, how do you think they're going to do? Obviously, there's a question of team synergy and are they going to be able to pull it together? But where do you see them? Where do you see them falling?
I mean, everyone keeps saying they're going to be top of the charts because of these roster changes, and I seem to be the only one who disagrees. I think Shifter is good. His mechanical skill is incredibly impressive, and I definitely think he's number 2 to Bjergsen. So he'll be great. And I think Zion Spartan he's very hit or miss. Because there's games where he does something that's absolutely incredible, where he's the sole reason they won the game. He split pushed and no one could handle him or whatever. And then there's games where he goes like 0-4 in lane, and just gets shit on. And one thing that Dignitas has always lacked was shot caller. And Zion Spartan, really young kid, not a ton of experience. I mean,
he's been around a long time.
Yeah, he's got some, but he's never been a primary shot caller. It's never been his role. It's never been his job. So we'll see. We'll see if he can pull it together, or if maybe Shifter will pick up the pieces, or whoever.
Shifter's the most quiet kid around. He's not a shot caller at all.
No.
So
he never talks ever.
Sure.
So I think that they'll be very. They're going to be hit or miss. Cutie Pie and Kiwi Kid, very hit or miss. There's some games where Cutie Pie goes 15 kills. There's some games where he's like 2 and 5.
Right.
And same thing with Zion Spartan. So unless somehow they pull together some kind of crazy shot caller out of one of those players that makes decisions for them and really keeps them level-headed and they become consistent somehow, I don't think they'll do very well. And I think with Cloud9 being such a powerhouse and being so strategically on point, TSM having Bjergsen being the only person with mechanical skill over Shifter, and Dyrus being so consistent, they're not going to lose to him. CLG, Seraph is going to potentially out-mechanic Zion Spartan, and so he's going to shut down the split pushing. Like, I just don't see there being a way where Dignitas can fit into that top 3 area. I don't see a way of them, beating these teams. And I mean, we have brought up LMQ on how they might do, and they're an incredibly consistent team throughout the whole Challenger series. So I just don't see them getting past any of these teams or pulling a fast one on any of these teams, just because they are an inconsistent team, and I think the players they brought on have been inconsistent the whole season, and they were just kind of like, well, these are our options.
Sure.
Well, I think the problem with Dig is everybody knows what they like. Zion Spartan loves his Lee Sin, he loves his Jax.
Yeah.
Shifter loves Nidalee, he likes the Ziggs, he likes those poke champions. I mean, the 2 players they're bringing in have no hidden value to them. Where you look at Seraph, he's brought in, no one knows what the fuck he plays. Like, nobody knows what he does, because he wasn't, like, I don't know, there's not a lot of games to watch of him.
Sure.
So, and then the thing with, it's like the same value of LMQ. LMQ, no one's seen what they can do other than Challenger Series, and that was patches ago, so no one knows what they're bringing to the table.
But then they have Godlike to just come in.
Yeah, that's true.
You guys aren't going to touch me. I was on Royal.
Which that's the only team that's the only top laner who will have a chance of beating Seraph, in my opinion, is Godlike.
Which is
he's so good.
Okay.
Yeah, Ackerman. He's so strong.
Now, I do think the one strength that Dig is going to bring now, I do think they have believe that they have strong individual lane skill, and the one thing that they will bring to the table is a tough pick ban phase, because it's going to be hard to ban out Zion, it's going to be hard to ban out shifter, and then add carry of choice to Cutie and.
Well, they just have so many things you have to ban versus them. They have too many carries on their team now.
It's going to be interesting because they are very carry heavy, and somebody's going to go off. I feel like that's going to take place. So I think that's going to be interesting to watch. And
It'll be
fun. One more for you, Oaf. I think Curse made a pretty big pickup in getting a special. So their lineup remains unchanged. They took fourth last split. I don't think anybody can argue that this didn't upgrade their team. What do you think? What do you think about these guys?
I think Dominate and Xpecial are going to butt heads.
Okay.
I think they both like to be shot callers. Xpecial is going to come into the team trying to do that because he wasn't allowed that from Reginald on TSM, and I think he's going to want to do that. Not that Xpecial is like a mean guy; he'll get along with the team fine.
Aggressive though.
Yeah.
I don't like Cop. I think Cop is a shit ad carry, in my opinion. And he's good enough. But I don't think they'll do anything. I think they'll take sixth.
It's funny you say that because I think Cop has been the most consistent one on Curse.
On their team, I agree with that. I think Voyboy's no good in the mid lane. I think.
If I have to see another Vladimir mid game, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
I'll shoot myself in the brain.
If he keeps playing that through this split, it's time to retire. Yeah, it's time to go.
And then you see him try to pull his Nidalee, and it looks like absolute garbage.
Terrible.
Yeah, it looks bad. But I think
he was good when Akali was good. It's the same thing as West Rice. Yeah. He's just not good anymore. Or just not as good anymore.
I'm gonna put the standings out there. In my opinion, I think it's gonna go Cloud9 first. I think CLG second. I think TSM and LMQ are going to fight for third, but they'll be third and fourth there. And then I think
Dignitas.
Dig will be fifth, Curse will be sixth, then EG seventh, and Complexity will lose almost every game. I think Complexity looks like absolute shit. I don't like their team.
Yeah, those two bottom teams, they'll be lucky to win.
EG will probably retire. EG will retire after this split because they're not doing shit this split. No fucking way.
No, I agree.
I'm gonna only disagree with you that I believe that that CLG won't pull their team synergy together quick enough. Even Monte Cristo has voiced his opinion on how hard that's going to be.
Oh yeah.
And he's looking at a future picture. So I think that the only difference in that it'll be Cloud9, TSM, LMQ, CLG.
You're gonna say LMQ is gonna take third place in their first split.
Oh yeah,
there's no way.
I think they look. I think they look incredibly.
You guys are crazy.
That's challenge teams. I honestly think LMQ will best fourth.
They're the best teams that they've played against. Now, granted, they've had some scrims over the last month against pro teams, but the best team that they have played in NA is fucking shit Bishu's Cloud9 Tempest team, which is a joke.
And they played Complexity, and they wiped the fucking floor with Complexity, and they just got in the LCS.
So they look so consistent to me, and I think in certain areas they have incredible skill. They have incredible skill in Ackerman. He's got an insane amount of experience, and especially international experience, which will help him. And then two, Zhao Zhao is just, I've never seen him lose a lane. He's got the highest CS in every game. And then their bottom lane looks pretty strong. I don't think their bottom lane will beat like the top two NA bottom lanes, but I think that all of their other lanes are on point from what I've seen, and it's just a prediction, so it could be off. But
I agree with the.
They look as good as some of the top teams, and I think that they're going to pull it out. And they've been working together for a whole year. That's the only reason I say above CLG is just because of the fact that CLG is bringing in players they've never played with. They could potentially have a language barrier to an extent, and then just they just could be shaky. Like we never know what's going to happen, and with LMQ playing together for this amount of time, and then there being such a shakeup in roster changes that they could just be consistent to the point where they'll exploit those slight the slight lack of team synergy. So I think that's their best chance.
I agree that Xiao Zhao has experience at the buffet because he is huge.
He's a large gent.
He is. He looks like a chipmunk that just harvests for winter.
Jesus.
He feeds people spears all day long. So
he does. He
does. He's a good spear thrower.
Chipmunk acorn spears and fucking throws them at people. Okay, well, I will throw out mine, and I think my top 3, I agree with Oath completely. I think Cloud9 will be far and ahead the best team, probably by at least 5 to 6 games. I think CLG will be number 2. I think TSM will be number 3. The fight for 4th, 5th, and 6th place is going to be fucking cutthroat. I think LMQ, Dig, and Curse are going to be intense in that area. I think it'll be very, very close. And then the bottom 2, Complexity might as well just go back to school and stop fucking playing. And EG needs to... It's time. Stop. Yeah, Crepo, stay on the analyst desk. Snoopy, go back to the gym. Shut the fuck up. Get out. Like, honestly, that's just going to be cannon fodder.
You're still in high school. Inox, play
So, yeah, I think those bottom 2 teams are going to be embarrassing, to be honest. But
it really will be.
Yeah.
It's free games for anyone who plays them now.
That's fine.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So
it'll be funny watching those 2 play versus each other because it'll be like watching like a platinum game.
God, dude, it'll be.
I'm gonna love
straight up my Silver 4 games.
By EG.
I think I saw Snoopy in Silver 4 the other day.
Yeah, and it wasn't Smurf account.
Scion Jungle OP.
Yeah. It's funny. Who am I to call these guys shit when I'm hanging out in Silver Leagues?
Yeah, well, whatever.
Still, Silver's awesome.
You have a lot of experience watching it, at least. Like, so you know what's good in pro, at least.
Fair enough. But anyways.
Not saying you're any good, but, you know.
Thanks, man.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. My bad.
Appreciate it. Anywho, moving on to one of our last sections. I don't know which one of you guys has the patch changes pulled up. There's some brief changes with the upcoming patch that the new LCS will be run on. I think the biggest change is the introduction of Braum as the newest support. I think there's going to be enough time has passed because the current patch has... Actually, I think that's OGN rules. Does LCS play on the newest patch? Because in OGN, it takes 4 weeks for them to play on that current patch.
No, they'll play on 4.7.
They'll play on the newest one.
But I don't think Braum can be introduced. I think he has to be out for like 6 weeks in order to play a new champion or something like that.
I think he'll be disabled for at least the first week.
Okay.
I agree.
Because they want to test him in solo queue to see his power spike, because it's either going to be he's released and he gets permabanned, or he's not released at all. So I don't think he will.
So overpowered.
He's beastly. He's beastly.
He's so strong. He's the epitome of support.
Yeah.
He's so good.
As far as patch changes, I don't know if there's anything that's noteworthy. NDP, is there anything that came out in the latest patch? Any changes to champions that people should know about?
Jarvan's changed. His passive is stronger now. Okay. It's just it's 10% at all levels, the damage output it does, so he's a bit stronger.
Okay.
And then that's about it for him. The only other change... Well, there's 2 other changes. The other change that's super important is that Kassadin got changed back down. His magic shield is changed back down.
Okay.
It's now... They buffed it to 200 at max rank plus 0.8 ability power, and now it's changed back to what it was, which is 160 plus 0.3 ability power, which seems like a massive nerf for him, but...
Who are we talking about?
Kassadin.
Yeah.
Which it seems like a massive nerf, but the reason it's not super huge for me, anyway, is that Kassadin's changes in his rework made him less of a late-game destroyer, and now he's more focused on his mid-game a bit, and he can hold his own in lane, especially when his shield was buffed. It was seriously ridiculous what he could do in lane, but... Now that it's back to normal, I think he's at a balanced point where he has a strong early and mid game, and then he's strong throughout the game, but he isn't the disgusting Kassadin we remember late game and the absolutely pitiful Kassadin early game. And then the other big change that I'm going to point out is the
2 biggest are Kha'Zix and Gragas.
I was about to say Kha'Zix His isolation radius got changed. It's now it's bigger. Like in order to be isolated, you have to be super far away from someone. It's 500 units now.
Okay.
And turrets count as allies, so that you cannot turret dive with jungle Kazakhs nearly as effectively and blow someone up.
It's not turret diving. It's when someone turret dives you, because it's your turret counts as an ally, isn't it? No. Yeah, no. It's the way you said it. Yeah,
so
you're right.
you can't dive people nearly as effectively as Kazakhs
That's
anymore.
true.
Because before you could go in and they were at like 60% health and you were like, oh, I don't care, I'm just going to blow you up.
Sure.
But now you don't get that isolation damage if they're near a turret. So turret diving with him is going to be extremely dangerous.
Also, his ultimate, it's, rather than 1 second between cast time, it's 2 now. So he takes way more damage in between ultimates. So he doesn't have that same, like, oh, I'm going to build a rando and not be able to die factor. Like,
so we might see a bit of a falling out with him. So.
Okay.
But then with Gragas, I think support Gragas is super fucking good right now. His Q got changed to where it grants vision wherever the barrel is, so you can like bush check with it.
It's nice.
And I think that's a really big thing, and it lasts a good while.
Sure.
So I mean, it's not very mana hungry. I mean, with the support, if you go Spell Thieves anyway, you have enough mana regen to pretty much throw him whenever the hell you want to.
Right.
And then he's got slow, he's got knock up. I think he's got a lot of things that are going to be ridiculous for support. But then even the big change that I thought was crazy was Jarvan, because I think his early game is so dumb now with the 10%.
I think it's better. Lane Jarvan is better now. Specifically,
Jarvan lane is so strong right now.
He's just got so much early game damage. You build him the same way you build Renekton in lane right now. You get that Tiamat, and then you go full tank. And his wave clear and just the ability to harass someone early and just kind of slam them down in lane and make sure they're behind you is really potent. And I don't know that we'll see it in a pro aspect, but in a casual solo queue aspect, I think if you're looking for something fun to do and something that can kind of curb stomp and lane, I think that Jarvan is a really good choice right now. His shield, his ability to escape from ganks with his EQ combo, and his passive just being able to bully someone that's really tanky down in lane really quickly is extremely effective.
The thing that I think is crazy with him is, like, his Q's long enough range to poke with it. So if you're facing a range champion, all you do is poke him with that. But when it's melee, when they're walking towards you to do a trade, you Q them, you get instantly 10% armor shred, and one basic does, like, I don't know, with your basic attack damage, probably like 12% of your health, because the passive's 10%. And so the Q with your passive proc does instantly 20% of that person's health in lane. So it's like, if you do that 3 times, they gotta go home. Or you all in them with your EQ combo. And his raw damage output and how fast it can be put out.
The base damages on his abilities are just ridiculous.
So insane to me.
Like, you don't even need AD, and he's still just so strong. But
oh, yeah. I jungle him sometimes, and I mean, he's not nearly as good in the jungle, because you can't apply the same pressure as in lane, obviously. I mean, your ganks are strong. He's always been a good ganker. His clear time's still garbage slow, but... I mean, but other than that, I mean,
yeah, it's not a huge patch, but it's a few things here and there that are going to make maybe champions that fell out of favor that people really like or people really enjoy playing in solo queue. I think we'll kind of see a rise in power just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from a tournament aspect, I think the Kazakhs changes are the ones to keep in mind, just because we might see him fall out of favor in the jungle, just because right now it is a 2v1 meta. That is more common than a straight-up lane. Right. And with the ability to tower dive on Kazakhs being so incredibly good, to see that kind of disappear or become worse might be, something that's really kind of going to push him out of the scene a bit for a lot of junglers. So we'll kind of see where that falls. But
okay,
it'll be interesting for sure.
Good stuff. The other thing, the last thing I wanted to talk about is kind of current meta, and I'll kind of overview it a little bit, and then I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to kind of talk from your respective roles a little bit. I think the meta is in a pretty intense shift right now. I think at the very top level of play, I think that it hasn't changed a ton. I mean, obviously in top lane, people are using Shyvana, Renekton, and Mundo with an occasional Jax or an Aurelia if they're really strong on them.
Lee Sin is a
Lee
big one.
Sin on occasion. The place I see a lot of shift currently, especially in Korea, is in the bot lane. A lot of different ad carries coming out and seeing play. I saw Varus the other day. We're seeing a lot of Twitch. We're seeing a lot of different ad carries being played, which is, I think, interesting. It's nice to see something other than Lucian and fucking Caitlyn.
Well, I think the big thing with that was the summoner changes.
Yeah.
With the heal changes, with the speed up, the exhaust changes are huge. They basically took assassins out of the game, other than LeBlanc, really, because she can just waste your exhaust.
I was about to say that it's not even the summoner changes; it's that they took assassin. The summoner changes changed assassins, so now that someone like Twitch, who's mobile, doesn't have to worry. I mean, when you're playing Twitch and they lock in TF, you're not like, shit, I have no escape. You know, like, but when you see LeBlanc every goddamn game, you're like, well, I can't play Twitch or she's just going to kill me.
Yeah.
Like, there's no opportunity for me. But now that there's kind of an even playing field on the assassin and mages in the mid lane, you can kind of see a lot of ad carries take shape.
Now, from a Oath being a jungler, what are you seeing currently in kind of the meta picks from both the leagues that you play in and at a top end level?
For me, I'm a big fan of Feral Flare right now. Even after its nerfs, still think it's strong. If you know how to farm it, I mean, you can carry games so fucking easily. So like, I play a lot of Udyr, a lot of Nocturne. Just like normal jungle picks. You can honestly play pretty much anything in the jungle right now. It's just on your play style. But pro play specifically, it's the same old shit. It's Kha'Zix, it's Elise, it's Lee Sin, and it's the same thing. A lot of Evelyn has been played a lot lately.
We're seeing quite a bit of Jax in Korea as well. In the
Jax jungle is it's getting a lot more popular, and that's really the only Feral Flare jungler that people are pulling. A lot of Xin Zhao's being played. But I don't think Feral Flare will ever be a popular thing in Pro. I don't think anyone will allow it because it's one of those items that takes you 16 minutes to actually be worth at all.
You can't farm it. Yeah.
You can't do that in Pro. You gotta randomly walk around. Like, you watch a Pro game, the jungler half the time is just walking around the map warding. He's not even killing a camp. He's not ganking a lane. He's literally just warding for his team. And so you can't do Feral Flare effectively, in my opinion, Pro.
And I think until 2v1s or 4v0s or whatever that you want to classify that as, until that goes away, you can't have Feral Flare. You can't be in the jungle as the jungler. You have to be in the lane, or you have to be ganking, or you have to, like, until that goes away, it's not going to happen. So
I mean, I like where the fucking jungle's at right now as a jungler, and solo queue specifically. Like, 'cause you can just play almost anything. I mean, when I play Udyr, I get fucking 45 stacks on my Feral Flare, do 1 damage item, and I'm unkillable, and I fucking kill their whole team. Like, so it's just fun seeing a jungler as a carry nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, when Kha'Zix came out, I thought, well, not came out, but made his rise into the jungle. It was cool at first. I thought, oh, cool, there's going to be this massively high-impact damage champion, and other lanes will have to pick up the tankiness and the support style of it. But they didn't even do that. I mean, for a while, they did full damage Kha'Zix, and then it got to Lizard, Hex Drinker, full tank Kha'Zix, and it's like all you're doing is you're running in trying to blow something up, and then you're just stealthing around the fight. And so for me, with the Kha'Zix nerf, I think that's huge. That's going to open up a lot of variety for pro play jungling. And then I like what they bring in the Feral Flare into it. I think they opened up a lot of solo queue opportunities for junglers. It's because back in the day, it was you either play Elise, you play Evelyn, you play Lee Sin. If you weren't good at those 3s, you shouldn't be jungling.
Sure.
And now Jarvan can be played, Xin Zhao can be played. I've played Volibear games. I mean, I played Twitch jungle the other day. I played Jax jungle. I mean, you can literally play almost any champion. I played versus Fizz jungle like 5 games in a row the other day. which pissed me off because Fizz is the most fucking annoying thing in the world. But I mean, it's just opened it up a whole lot, and so I like it a lot. The changes are great.
The only thing I'll say about the jungle real quick is I think that these recent patches and the meta shifts have really opened up carrying from the jungle, which in solo queue for a lot of people has been very difficult to move even in the slightest bit because you rely on your team so much. You're almost like a second support. So for the Feral Flare to make a rise, and even if it kind of screws your team at some time or at some point in the game, you have the potential to carry from the jungle now, which I think is really, really cool.
Well, that's like when I play Udyr, I'll tell my team, I'll be like, hey, you guys play safe in lane for first 15 minutes and we will win the game. And I know we're not, like, that's not a guarantee, but it's like it gives them the confidence to, hey, if we just sit here, then he'll do something. But, like, I've soloed Baron at, like, 23 minutes on Udyr. Like, he just has that power and that healing. You go Blade of the Ruined King with your Feral Flare and then, like, 2 armor items. If you can get it by, like, 30 minutes, you solo Baron so fucking easily. And it's like, junglers have never had that power. And so the fact that you can come out and you're the strongest thing in the game, even though you haven't done anything but farm in the game, I mean, that's a really cool thing. That has never happened before. So I like it. Cool. I think it's great.
The other lane that's kind of shifty right now is mid lane. We see a lot of safety picks from pro play. A lot of people playing Ziggs still. A lot of people playing Lulu for the team aspect.
Nidalee.
Yeah, still a lot of Nidalee, which I think will never go away. Andy P, with solo queue and pro play, what's your kind of vibe in the mid lane right now?
Well, with the summoner changes, it kind of reduced the effectiveness of assassins. Heal being ran on almost everything. You can't kill them. And it's on a shorter cooldown than Ignite, so it's like, or out as short as Ignite at the very least. But
it's not shorter. I think they're both 270.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're around the same, yeah. So having that summoner spell and just reducing assassins, it kind of made them fall out of favor. But, I think it's interesting. There's a lot of cool picks coming out. Twisted Fate being one of them. We see him a ton in Korea right now.
Yeah.
Just blowing up Yasuo. Yasuo's blowing up, and that's because people are, I guess, finally realizing that if you have mechanical skill, you can counter Nidalee with it, which apparently that was unknown to so many people for so long. But
it's like, it's weird. I saw freaking Yasuo into LeBlanc yesterday out of Pawn. Pawn was on Yasuo into LeBlanc, though, like, and usually LeBlanc flies over the wall, all her damage hits, but somehow that kid manages to block fucking
Pawn's
everything.
also one of the only Yasuo players that runs heal.
That's true, I forget about that.
But, yeah, mid lane specifically, I think Assassins falling out of favor is pretty cool. I was getting really fucking sick and tired of playing LeBlanc. I'm getting really fucking sick and tired of watching fucking 90 NA games and seeing LeBlanc Lulu played 89 of them. Like, it's just, I was getting tired of it, so I'm stoked that the meta has shifted to the point where you can pull at least something different, pull the TF, pull the, the Nidalee,
Syndra,
at least.
Another one.
We saw Syndra come out of Xiang, and Faker pulled I'm better at Syndra than you card.
Baller status.
He really did. I mean, he even said it at the end of the game. He was straight up, I'm better than Xiang, and I wanted everyone to see that. But, yeah, I think it's really cool, and I think it's good. I mean, I've been playing mid lane quite a bit, and I think I've had the same matchup twice out of every 10 games, and that's pretty fucking solid compared to the rest of the season. And yeah, it's cool. I mean, you were seeing Flash Ghost pulled on TF. We're seeing heal ran on people that wouldn't run it on Yasuo out of Pawn's Yasuo.
Syndra runs heal sometimes. Syndra, just really weird.
Heal, or some things coming out of the blue, and Syndra's with Ignite that you haven't seen in 6 months, and they are stomping, and I think it's really cool. And I think a lot of things are slowly shifting, and I think right now it's not safe to say that we're in a meta. I think it's still shifting, and we'll find a middle ground. I think right now the place to look for it is either going to be in Cloud9's games or it's going to be in the OGN. I think to kind of find what the normal will be there.
Yeah.
EU,
Cloud9.
I wouldn't say EU at all because they are so fucking all over the place anyway. I mean, you see fucking Finland. SOAS pulling LeBlanc top. You're never going to get normal out of that region. So
I
but
hate SOAS' top play. It annoys me so much.
I think to find the meta, we should look at the OGN and look at Cloud9's games. We'll figure it out there. But for now, it's like if you have a pocket pick that you want to run, or you have a secret passion in a mid laner that might not be favorable, I think now's the time to do it because we're out of the assassin scene a bit. We're out of the running Ignite every game, which is great, and we're seeing a lot more team champions, especially focused on that TF pick.
Well, the game was just in a slump where it was 3 champions every lane, have fun. Now there's so much fucking variety, and that's what I like about it. There's 120-something champions. I mean, you can't have 3 champions in every lane. Like, you have 12 champions out of 120, like... So now, I mean, jungle specifically, though, like, you can play, like, 25 different champions in the jungle right now. I mean, top lane, you can play a lot of stuff, but it's not the best stuff. I mean, it's always going to be Renekton, Shyvana, Mundo. I mean, like, those power picks are always going to be strongest. And
I will call this right now that we should be expecting Balls' Rumble coming out soon.
I agree. Rumble's so good right now. His changes were
He
great.
got buffed. He's so strong.
I'm sure he's strong.
And Balls has always been a Rumble player, so he's going to pull it. If not for just shits and giggles, he's going to pull it because it's so fucking good.
Oh, we'll see it week 1 or week 2 of LCS, I guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, week 1 they got TSM, so I don't know if they'll pull it there. Okay. Well, that kind of wraps it up for patch changes in meta. I think we ran a little long on this show, which is cool, but this is our first show. I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know that the webcams got recorded for this episode, so this one might be a sweet podcast with all audio. So you guys can yell at me later for that, and that'll be fine.
You fuck.
But we'll see. So to close it out, I really appreciate it. I saw a couple people stop in on the stream. The video came through good on the stream. I think we nailed down all the topics. I'm stoked for LCS to start. We got EU starts tomorrow. NA starts on Friday. We got some really big games coming up, and I think a lot of those questions for meta picks and what these guys have been working on in the offseason are going to get answered this week, so I can't wait for it to start. I'm really stoked. And we're going to do this show weekly. We're going to try to get, I'd like to get an episode up after LCS every week, so expect episodes to come through Mondays, Tuesdays, maybe Wednesdays. We can't wait to bring you guys more content. We're really excited. Tell your mom, tell your kids, tell your wife. Come watch fucking Casual Voice of the Rift. So from me, JMAP, Andy P, and Oaf, we really appreciate you guys stopping in. And we will see you next time.
For sure.
Peace!
Yeah.